These are the 3 money shifts I made that allowed me to retire early at 48. I originally started following the traditional financial path. Got a good paying job, set money aside up to the company match in my retirement account, planned to hang in there until I was 65 when I could draw down about $4,000 a month for the rest of my life. But I didn't want to wait until I was 65 to retire. I also didn't want to live on a limited income. But in my 20s and 30s, I just didn't know enough about money and investing to do anything different. And I didn't begin the strategies that I'm going to talk about in this video until I was in my 40s. So if you feel like it's too late for you and there's not enough time to save for an early retirement, if you follow the right strategies consistently, you can get there in a relatively short amount of time. Don't despair, hang in there. The first shift I made was I stopped wondering where my money went, and instead, I started planning for it. I didn't take budgeting seriously until my mid-30s, and I got a bank account where I had multiple savings accounts, and I labeled those by my expenses as well as my goals, and I took the total yearly amount for each of those divided by 12, and that's how much I set aside in each of those savings accounts every single month. This system worked great. Within a year's time, I had a nice little nest egg, and I could buy pretty much what I wanted and be debt-free. But none of those savings accounts were for investing. So even though I took a huge step toward managing my money, I still wasn't growing it. And around this time, my later 30s, I saw friends buying rental properties, and I knew that they were taking in hundreds or even thousands of dollars extra money every month. And I knew I wanted that. But at the same time, I did not feel financially ready because I didn't have a nest egg for investing. So I got digital online software for budgeting, and that's when things really took off for me. Because even though I had been planning my money, I was still overspending in certain categories, and the money that I could be using for investments were going towards things that were never going to get me anywhere, like luxury bags and the latest makeup. So I used my budgeting software to cut out the fluff and start setting aside money to invest. The second shift I made that allowed me to retire early at 48 was I traded comfort for cash flow. When it came time to buy my first real estate investment property, I bought a duplex, and that's 2 houses in 1 property. I fixed it up, moved in one part, which was a 600 square foot apartment, and then listed the other on Airbnb. Granted, I went from 1,800 square feet and a beautiful townhome to a 600 square feet but beautiful apartment, but I also went from spending $4,000 a month to making it, which made a huge difference in terms of me being able to save to acquire more rental properties. And while living in a smaller space is certainly a sacrifice, it's also made me realize that I don't need a ton of space or a lot of stuff to make me happy. I would much rather live in a smaller home that pays me to live there than a bigger home that takes all of my money. The third shift that I made that allowed me to retire early at 48 was I stopped being a consumer and I started being a contributor. As soon as I started house hacking, that is living in my rental property, I became the owner of a small short-term rental business. And the thing that a lot of people don't understand about what businesses do at their core is they solve problems for people. And the problem that I was solving was providing temporary housing when they needed to travel for work, visit family, or just take a weekend getaway. And that's when I realized that money would flow to me the more that I could identify problems that needed to be solved and provide a solution. These three shifts were small, but when pulled together, they dramatically shifted my life and financial picture. And they effectively made it so that my income from my job wasn't necessary. If you're somewhere between, I don't know if I can keep doing this and I don't know what's next, let me know in the comments. A lot of us are figuring this out at the same time. If you want to retire early or you have retired early and want a space to connect, please hit like on this video and subscribe. You'll get more content like this each week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.